Hello YouTubers, Reloading Bench back with you once again. And as you can see from what's on the bench, you can also probably imagine what today's task is going to be. So I took this to the range and it performed beautifully. I will probably cut to the performance video right now so you can see how that went. All right, here we go. I don't know if you can hear me because I got my earplugs in, but we're loaded up. We got 5 rounds. I don't know if you can see the target. It is clean. I'm going to put the camera down, my phone, and see, hopefully. Let's see.
You know, when I first saw it, he came and asked me, "Can you tell me what I'm doing wrong?" I said, I was going to approach you.
All right, there's the phone. Here we go. First shot.
When you pull the trigger, it's going. You had low left. Everything was low left. Yeah. Can the star get out there?
And then when we come back, we'll start in on this. All right, I'm assuming you watched that. These were some leftover sear springs from my Prodigy experiment, and I thought I would do the same with the DWX Compact because it operates very similar in terms of the bottom half to a 1911. It does have a sear spring in the back of this very long mainspring. In fact, if this was a 1911, this would be the grip safety. So it's not a 1911, but it has all of the functions of a grip safety minus this third tine that would deal with the grip safety, but since it doesn't exist, the third tine is useless. So as you can see, we have an unloaded pew-pew here. And we are going to, I've done this before, I think on the intro. I think we have that came in just over 4, between 4 and 4 1/4, just under 4 1/4. I want to say in the times I did this, it was anywhere from, that's the same thing, just over 4, a little less than 4 1/4. The times I did this previously, I was getting anywhere, that's just under 4, so we'll call that 3, and yeah, just under 4. I don't know if you can see that. And we'll do one more. And that was 4 1/4. So I'm going to say we have a 4 1/4 trigger pull. Yeah, that came in at 4 1/4. So I'm going to say we have 4 1/4. I would like to get this down to low 3s, upper 2s, and that is today's project. So we will sacrifice one of these, or maybe that's not the best word. We will utilize one of these and save the OEM so that we can always go back to that. So with YouTube's rules and everything, I don't know, I would be afraid to show you the process. So I will take this apart off camera and take the sear spring out and then compare the sear spring. These two are essentially the same. These new ones, this was at 4.75 to 5 pounds, and this was at 5 to 5 1/4. So we'll probably do this one and keep the wolf spring off to the side. But yeah, don't want to violate any guidelines, so I will take a part off camera and we'll go from there. So unlike a 1911, where everything is the same size on the pin, it looks like this end is smaller than this end, so it would punch through to the left. And again, unlike a 1911, you can see the lip. I was able to push this out just by sliding the wooden dowel. So not a lot of pressure there. Again, don't want to show too much, so we'll be back. All right, pieces out. So it looks like, and this is I'm going to call this janky. I don't know if you can see that. There's a burr right there. And that burr, in my opinion, is because they took a spring. They took this type of spring, and it almost looks like, again, this third tine doesn't matter. It looks like it's very similar to this Colt version, but they cut that off. So it looks like it's cut off right at the at this little nub. So that's interesting. But they didn't do a very fine job because, as you can see, you can still see the burr. And I don't know if the camera's picking that up. But there's definitely not a clean cut. Looks like it was done with with a cheesy tool. So what we will do is the same thing with this one. So this will be put aside. I will be doing some smithing. Don't need to worry about this tine. Excuse me, well, same difference. Don't need to worry about this one. So just these two, and we will we'll cut that off. Back after the cut. And I'll say my version is burr free. Even a little straighter cut if you ask me, but all right, more off camera. I will start my bends to test, and then we'll put it together. And all right, so I decided to do a test fit after my smithing. So I did a little bit of a pull. So this spring that's in here now was 4.5, 4 3/4 to 5 pound. So between my fitting, my dremeling and grinding, we're now at 4 1/4. So now it's a question of adjusting these two splines. This feels a little better, so more adjusting. And we are back. So I'm going to say we're at roughly, again, the OEM spring with the burr. My spring with no burr. Actually, somebody will complain that I'm not racking it. All right, we're at 0. We are at 3.5. I was getting anywhere from 2 3/4 to 3. That would be just at 3. That is at 3 1/4. And that is just under 3. That is 2 and just over 3/4. So and that again is 2 3/4. Almost 2.5. So we are going to let this spring set. And if the Prodigy is any indicator, it'll gain 1/4 to 1/2, and then we'll readjust accordingly. But right now we're at anywhere from 2.5 to I would say 3, which is an improvement over 4 1/4. This feels better. It's not quite as long as a pre-travel. And the reset is comfortable. Right there. And boy, that safety's hard. So we are good. We will take to the range, see how it feels. But that's a lot nicer, in my opinion, than what stock was at 4 1/4. So good stuff. I'll put it back together and give a range report probably in whenever the weather's nice. We have gone to the range post trigger modification. I believe we were at 2.5 to 3.0, and we went to the range. I'll show some pictures. That's coming in right at 3. That is coming in at 3 1/4. That is coming in at over 2.5, not 2 3/4. So let's try that slow draw again. We're coming in at 2 3/4. And between 2.5 and 2 3/4. One more. Message here is I'm going to say I have a 2.5 to 3 pound trigger. And that's coming in again between 2.5 and just under 2 3/4. All right, one more. And by the way, this felt great at the range. And while I'm babbling, I'll share a picture. Yeah, 2.5-ish. So I'm going to say, actually, I'm going to say 2.5 to 2 3/4 pound. I love the way this trigger feels on the range. This felt absolutely wonderful. This has to be one of my fave 9mm, and I'm not a big 9mm shooting fan. I prefer God's round, 45 ACP, but from a 9mm, if someone said, do you like this or do you like the staccato P? I kind of like this. And they're going to get it better someday when they put the RDS cut, which I don't care about. So this is why I went after this particular version, because this one does it for me in terms of the design, the fact that it is old school, kind of just like my Ed Brown. Point of aim is point of impact, beautiful front sight, beautiful rear sight picture, lightweight, you know, it is just goodness. So the trigger job worked. And again, I'm going to say we're at 275-ish, give or take a little, depending on how aggressive or jerky, quickie I am with this thing. So trigger job was a success, and this feels great at the range. And I'll end with some pictures of how it shot. Later.